Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, another episode in the Random Acts of Violence series. Once again, the series where I actually have to get off my ass and drive the tanks myself, instead of relying on the replays that you guys have sent in. Two relatively quick games here for you, but with very large amount of damage done in a very short period of time. First, the E100. Again, continuing my experiment to not use any gold ammunition on the E100. I do carry 10 rounds of high explosive anti-tank ammo in this thing, but I haven't had the need to fire a shot in, I don't know, over 6 months. I operate on the principle that it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, but I can't remember the last time I needed to fire gold ammunition in this tank, which is a far cry from what it was like when I first got it. If you go back far enough to watch my very first E100 video, I hated this tank. I just didn't know how to use it. The reason so many people, and the reason I complained about the E100 when I first got it, but the reason so many people use gold ammunition exclusively on this tank is because of the penetration of the 150mm gun. It's got the worst penetration of any tier 10 tank in World of Tanks. In fact, it would have pretty underwhelming penetration if this was a tier 9 heavy tank. 235mm of penetration on this gun, and of course the standard advice that you give to anybody who has a gun with low penetration is just aim for weak spots, but this gun also has 0.4 accuracy. And yet, I still managed to hit things with this thing, purely and simply by virtue of coming to a full stop and letting it aim. But Jingles, doesn't that make you vulnerable to return fire? Well, yeah, but I'm in an E100. There's a T110E4 about to poke out up there. There he is. 300mm of penetration, or, well, as close as 295 on that guy's gun. And I don't have 300mm of armour on the front of my turret, but all you have to do is angle the turret between shots by as little as 25 degrees, and you effectively, while your turret ring remains vulnerable, but your turret ring's a tiny target, and the T110E4 has lousy accuracy as well, but you basically give your turret an effective 300mm of armour, just by angling as little as 25 degrees between shots. And the T110E4's gun depression was so terrible that he pretty much had to expose the entire flat side of his tank in order to point his gun down at me around the side of that ridge. And at that range, even the E100 is unlikely to miss. Been doing a lot of moving and not a lot of shooting so far. That's because while the reverse slope of this hill is great for manoeuvring against enemy tanks on the other side, it makes you very vulnerable to artillery, although the enemy don't have any artillery left because our E50M has utterly butt-stomped them, so that's nice. So, with the enemy team in complete disarray, I mean, they've lost half of their tanks. I did tell you this was going to be a quick game. We push over the ridge and take the fight to that lone remaining enemy E100, and there's at least 5 tanks shooting at him. Everybody's desperate for a piece of this guy's ass, including the tier 8 artillery with the most powerful and least accurate gun in the game. 0.88 accuracy on the GW Tiger P's 210mm gun. And he took the shot anyway, because it's only pixels. This could so easily have been an episode of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, rather than Random Acts of Violence. But, well, you know, no real harm done. Enemy team are fighting back. They just scored another kill. Scores are now 8-6. Up front they have a T57 Heavy, and down in the valley, making a run for our base, is the Lorraine. Now, maybe I should have paid more attention to the fact that the Lorraine was actually heading in the direction of our base, but I'm aiming. I get the kill on the T57 Heavy. Obviously I've been spotted, but yeah, big deal. No artillery left. There's the Lorraine again. Quickie Baby and the other E100 is already aiming at him. I have to move forward a little to clear my line of fire. And I also hit him, and of course I do no damage, and all I do is blow his tracks off because, you know, it's a 150mm shell. Why would it do any damage? If that had hit, well, the Lorraine would have been dead, and the outcome of this match might have been slightly different. Well, the outcome would have been very different. There's a whole bunch of random factors from that point on that really start to conspire to dictate how this game is going to end. I mean, I get lucky here. I didn't even stop and aim at that Tiger 2 and I still hit him. Unfortunately, I got a low damage roll, so that means that even though Quickie Baby here gets a very, very high damage roll, It's not enough to kill him, so I have to stop, turn around and put a second shot into this guy, and this slows me down. Now, we've just got one enemy tank left to kill, and then we can start capping, because they are going to start capping. It's the only real way they can win now. But first I've got to kill this wrpl Bullsick, and he's the first guy to do any actual damage to me. But I have to make sure I kill him with my first shot, because I don't have time to sit around waiting to reload. I need to get back, because we are being capped by probably 3 enemy tanks. Guys back at their flag need to hurry up and kill that 110. Quickie Baby's going back to assist on T32. T69 rushing ahead, trying to spot the guys in the cap as I make my best speed to give them some firepower support and try to win this game. And there's that Lorraine that we couldn't kill earlier. If I can hit him, he's dead. And then there's only 2 tanks capping, not 3. And only 2 tanks shooting back at me, not 3. Unfortunately, they're not shooting at me, they're shooting at the T69. And I would have preferred them shooting at me because I can take the hits. The T69 can't, and the T69 was spotting them. So we've got 2 tanks in the cap circle, they've got 2 tanks in the cap circle, but they're going to win unless I can hit one of them. And I can't see them, and there's barely seconds left, so I just take a blind shot. Fingers crossed. At their last position, but it doesn't hit anything. And that pretty much sealed the deal on this game. These 2 guys were smart enough to know not to shoot at me, to stay behind cover, stay hidden, and they won the game. Which was a bit of a bummer, because I'd done over 4,000 damage. But if nothing else, it does at least prove once again that you need to fire premium ammunition in the E100 a hell of a lot less than you think. I do carry high explosive anti-tank ammo in the tank, 10 rounds. It's the same 10 rounds that I've had loaded in the tank for at least the last 6 months. I just never find myself in a situation where I feel that I need to use it. Anyway, from a heavy tank platoon to a medium tank platoon, we've been joined at this stage by Ike, the King of Norway. Me and Ike are both in M48 pattern tier 10 medium tanks, Quickie Baby up front in the slightly faster STB-1, the Japanese tier 10 medium tank. There's a lot of medium tanks coming up this hill. We've got a Leopard prototype, we've got a T-54. I smell Wolfpack. I haven't had a really good medium tank Wolfpack rush in a long, long time. And if we're going to do a Wolfpack, we have to have the Wolfpack music. There it is. Bit of Descent into Cerberon from the Quake 2 soundtrack. This, by the way, is what it used to be like back in the days of the Type 59 spam, when the tank was actually available for purchase in the gift shop, and almost half of both teams consisted of nothing but Type 59s. Watch this. Glorious. Oh yeah. Yeah, you like that, don't you, bitch? Next! Where do you think you're going? Ready? We're gonna go? Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, he's got friends. Ah, screw it. In for a penny, in for a pound. Over the top, boys. Attack, attack, attack. Last one in Berlin stinks of piss and has no friends. Hey! Yeah, where's all your friends now, big boy? One at the side of his turret, and then get out of the way, clear the line of fire for everybody else. And... oh. You almost feel sorry for him. Look at this. Look at all these tanks. I think we can safely say we've taken possession of the hill. Anyway, can't afford to sit around here, we've got tanks to kill. And this of course means it's surprise butt sex time for all of those enemy tanks on the north-south road at the bottom of the hill here. They have to know what's coming. Our IS-7 up there, by the way, has done a fantastic job of holding these guys off. But now the cavalry's arrived, and there's just a traffic jam of tanks. These guys are so incredibly screwed. There's far too many tanks here. Oh, wait. I'll take a shot into that IS-7, and I'm going to get out of the way now. There's more than enough people here, and we're just going to get in each other's way, and the chances of my actually getting a second or even third successful shot off into whatever's left up there, yeah, it's fairly remote. Oh, watch where you're driving, Jingles. I'm heading elsewhere. I'm not fighting for the scraps of that IS-7 with all the rest of those tanks. I mean, look at the map. Look at the poor guy. I was never going to get a chance to do some more damage, so I'm already heading off, looking for fresh targets on full health that I can actually put multiple shots into. And down here there's an E75 and a Death Star, and that's why I'm backing up. Put the shot in, back off. Now, I do make a bit of a miscalculation here. I take a bit of a risk. I know how inaccurate and what a long aiming time the Death Star's gun has, so I put a shot into him, and I didn't anticipate him actually being able to snap the return shot off while he was moving, but I can't really complain about it. I mean, I did do pretty much exactly the same thing to that target too in the previous match in the E100. Of course, he has a very, very, very long reload, and I don't. So, can I beat his reload? Is he going to get me? That would be no. This was an absolute slaughter. Now they only have 4 tanks left. Now they only have 3 tanks left. And there's 2 of them. A CDC and an E75. E75, distracted by the T49, put one into his lower glacis. I make another mistake here. I still aim for the lower glacis. Look at that nice big flat side of the turret that I should have put the shot into, which costs me the kill. T57 Heavy versus the CDC. He's the last tank left on their team. T57 Heavy looks like he just fired his last shot and he's reloading. I don't really care if the CDC hits me. I can take it. And he doesn't hit me. So, that was alright. Yeah, I know, having fun in World of Tanks. Isn't that against the terms of service? Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, folks. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.